एवरीवन, इस वीडियो में हम यूनियन बजट 2022-23 पढ़ेंगे जो कि 1 फेब 2022 को इशू करा गया। ठीक है। ये कुछ हाइलाइट्स हैं यूनियन बजट 2022-23 के। ठीक है। द यूनियन बजट सीक्स टू complement मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक लेवल ग्रोथ विद a focus on micro economic level all inclusive welfare. The Union Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs श्रीमती निर्मला सीतारमण tabled the Union Budget 2022-23 in Parliament today. The key highlights of the budget are as follows. Part 1. India's economic growth estimated at 9.2% to be the highest among all large economies. 60 lakh new jobs to be created under the productivity linked incentive scheme in 14 sectors. PLI schemes have the potential to create an additional production of 30 lakh crore rupees. Entering Amrit Kal, the 25-year long lead up to India at the rate of 100, the budget provides impetus for growth along 4 priorities. Number 1, PM Gati Shakti. 2, number 2, inclusive development. Number 3, productivity enhancement and investment, sunrise opportunities, energy transition and climate action. And number 4 is financing of investment. Then PM Gati Shakti. The 7 engines that drive the PM Gati Shakti are road, railways, airports, ports, mass transport, waterways, and logistic infrastructures. PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan. The scope of PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan will encompass the 7 engines for economic transformation, seamless, multimodal, creativity, and logistic efficiency. The projects pertaining to these 7 engines in the national infrastructure pipeline will be aligned with PM Gati Shakti framework. Then, road transport. National highways network to be expanded by 25,000 किलोमीटर in 2022-23. Then, 20,000 crore rupees to be mobilized for national highways and network expansion. Then, multimodal logistic parks. Contracts to be awarded through PPP mode in 2022-23 for implementation of multimodal logistic parks at 4 locations. Then, railways. One station, one product concept to help local businesses and supply chains. 2,000 kilometer of railway network to be brought under Kavach, the indigenous world-class technology and capacity augmentation in 2022-23. Then 400 new generation Vande Bharat trains to be manufactured during the next 3 years. 400 न्यू. ठीक है, अगले 3 सालों में. नेक्स्ट. Then 100 PM Gati Shakti cargo terminals for multimodal logistics to be developed during the next 3 years. Then Parvatmala National Ropeways Development Program, Parvatmala to be taken up on PPP mode. Contracts to be awarded in 2022 for 8 ropeway projects of 60 kilometer length. Then inclusive development. एग्रीकल्चर का देखते हैं कि 2.37 लाख रुपीस 2.37 lakh crore rupees direct payment to 1.63 crore farmers for procurement of wheat and paddy. Chemical free natural farming to be promoted through the country. Initial focus is on farmers' lands in 5-kilometer wide corridors along River Ganga. NABARD to facilitate fund with blended capital to finance startups for agriculture and rural enterprises. Kisan drones for crop assessment, digitization of land records, spraying of insecticides and nutrients. Then Ken Betwa project, 1400 crore outlay for implementation of the Ken Betwa link project. 9.08 lakh hectares of farmers' land to receive irrigation benefits by Ken Betwa link project. Then MSME, Udyam, Shram, NCS and Asim portals to be interlinked. 130 lakh MSMEs provided additional credit under Emergency Credit Linked Guarantee Scheme ECLGS. ECLGS to be extended up to March 2023. Guarantee cover under ECLGS to be expanded by 50,000 crore rupees to total cover of rupees 5 lakh crore. Then 2 lakh crore additional credit for micro and small enterprises to be facilitated under the Credit Guarantee Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises CGTMSE. Then raising and accelerating MSME performance RAMP program with outlay of 6,000 crore rupees to be rolled out. Skill development, digital ecosystem for skilling and livelihood DESH stack e-portal will be launched to empower citizens to skill, reskill and or upskill through an online training. Startups will be promoted to facilitate drone shakti and for drone as a service DRAAS. Then education. One class, one TV channel program of Vidya to be expanded to 200 TV channels. Virtual labs and skilling e-labs to be set up to promote critical thinking skills and simulated learning development environment. High quality e-content will be developed for delivery through digital teachers. Digital University for world class quality universal education with personalized learning experience to be established. Then health, an open platform for national digital health ecosystem to be rolled out. National tele mental health program for quality mental health counseling and care services to be launched. A framework of 23 mental health centers of excellence will be set up with NIMHANS being the nodal center and International Institute of Information Technology Bangalore IIITB providing technology support. Then Saksham Anganwadi, integrated benefits to women and children through Mission Shakti, Mission Vatsalya, Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0. 2 lakh Anganwadis to be upgraded to Saksham Anganwadis. Then Har Ghar Nal Se Jal, rupees 60,000 crore allocated to cover 3.8 crore households in 2022-23 under Har Ghar Nal Se Jal. Then housing for all, 48,000 crore rupees allocated for completion of 80 lakh houses in 2022-23 under PM Awas Yojana. Then Prime Minister Development Initiative for North Eastern Region PMDEVINE. New scheme PMDEVINE launched to fund infrastructure and social development projects in the Northeast. An initial allocation of 1500 crore rupees made to enable livelihood activities for youth and women under this scheme. Vibrant Villages Program. Vibrant Villages Program for development of border villages with sparse population, limited connectivity and infrastructure on the northern border. Banking. 100% of 1.5 lakh post offices to come on the core banking system. Scheduled commercial banks to set up 75 digital banking units DBUs in 75 districts. E-passports. E-passports with embedded chip and futuristic technology to be rolled out. Urban planning. Modernization of building bylaws, town planning schemes TPS and transit oriented development TOD will be implemented. Battery swapping policy to be brought out for setting up charging stations at scale in urban areas. Land records management, unique land parcel identification number for IT based management of land records. Accelerated corporate exit, center for processing accelerated corporate exits CPACE to be established for speedy winding up of companies. AVGC Promotion Task Force, in animation, visual effects, gaming, and comic AVGC Promotion Task Force to be set up to realize the potential of the sector. Telecom sector. Scheme for design-led manufacturing to be launched to build a strong ecosystem for 5G as part of the protection-linked incentive scheme. Export promotion. Special Economic Zones Act to be replaced with the new legislation to enable states to become partners in development of enterprise and service hubs. Atmanirbhar, uh, Atmanirbharta in defense. Atmanirbharta in defense. 68% of capital procurement budget earmarked for domestic industry in 2022-23, up from 58% in 2021-22. Defense research and development to be opened up for industries, startups, and academia with 25% of defense R&D budget earmarked. Independent nodal umbrella body to be set up for meeting testing and certification requirements. Sunrise opportunities. Government contribution to be provided for R&D in sunrise opportunities like artificial intelligence, geospatial systems and drones, semiconductor and its ecosystem, space economy, genomics and pharmaceuticals, green energy and clean mobility systems, energy transition and climate action. Additional allocation of 19,500 crore rupees for production linked incentive for manufacture of high efficiency solar modules to meet to meet the goal of 280 GW of installed solar power by 2023. First to 7% biomass pellets to be co-fired in thermal power plants. Carbon dioxide savings of 38 MMT annually. Extra income to farmers and job opportunities to locals. Help avoid stubble burning in agriculture fields. 4 pilot projects to be set up for coal gasification and conversion of coal into chemicals for the industry. Financial support to farmers belonging to scheduled caste and scheduled tribe SC and ST who want to take up agroforestry. Public capital investment. Public investment to continue pump prime private investment and demand in 2022-23. Outlay for capital expenditure stepped up sharply by 35.4% to 7.50 lakh crore rupees in 2022-23. Just a minute, sorry. Yeah, and just a minute. Sorry. We will read from here. Public capital investment. Public investment to continue pump prime private investment and demand in 2022-23. Outlay for capital expenditure stepped up sharply by 35.4% to 7.50 lakh crore rupees in 2022-23 from 5.54 lakh crore in the current year. Outlay in 2022-23 to be 2.9% of GDP. Effective capital expenditure of current government estimated at rupees 10.68 lakh crore in 2022, which is about 4.1% of GDP. Then GIFT IFSC, GIFT IFSC, world class foreign universities and institutions to be allowed in Gift City, GIFT Gift City, an international arbitration center to be set up for timely settlement of disputes under international jurisprudence. Then mobiling resources, data centers and energy storage system to be given infrastructure status. Venture capital and private equity invested more than 5.5 lakh crore last year, facilitating one of the largest startup and growth ecosystem. Measures to be taken to help scale up this investment. Blended funds to be promoted for sunrise sectors. Sovereign green bonds to be issued for mobilizing resources for green infrastructure. Then digital rupee. Introduction of digital rupee by the Reserve Bank of India starting 2022, providing greater fiscal space to states. Enhanced outlay for scheme for financial assistance to states for capital investment from rupees 10,000 crore in budget estimate to 15,000 crore in 15,000 crore rupees in revised estimates for current year. Allocation of 1 lakh crore in 2022-23 to assist the state in catalyzing overall investment in the economy. 50-year interest-free loans over and above normal borrowings. In 2022-23, states will be allowed a fiscal deficit of 4% of GSDP, of which 0.5% will be tied to power sector reforms in fiscal management. Budget estimates 2021-22 हैं रुपीज़ 34.83 lakh crore. Then revised estimates 2021-22 हैं 37.70 lakh crore. Then total expenditure in 2022-23 estimated at rupees 39.45 lakh crore. Total receipts other than borrowings in 2022-23 estimated at 22.84 lakh crore. Fiscal deficit in current year 6.9% of GDP against 6.8% in budget estimates. Fiscal deficit in 2022-23 estimated at 6.4% of GDP. Now part B, direct taxes. Direct taxes to be taken forward the policy of stable and predictable tax regime. Vision to establish a trustworthy tax regime to further simplify tax system and reduce litigation. Introducing new updated return provision to file an updated return on payment of additional tax. It will enable the assessee to declare income missed out earlier. It can be filed within 2 years from the end of the relevant assessment year. Next, cooperative societies. Alternate minimum tax paid by cooperatives brought down from 18.5% to 15% to provide a level playing field between cooperative societies and companies. Surcharge on cooperative societies reduced from 12% to 7% for those having total income of more than 1 crore rupees and up to 10 crore rupees. Then tax relief to persons with disability. Payment of annuity and lump sum amount from insurance scheme to be allowed to differently able dependent during the lifetime of parents or guardians, that is on parents guardian attaining the age of 60 years. Then parity in a national pension scheme contribution. Tax deduction limit increased from 10% to 14% on employers' contribution to the NPS account of state government employees. Then it brings them at par with central government employees. It would help in enhancing social security benefits. Then incentives for startups. A period of incorporation extended by 1 year up to March 31st, 2023 for eligible startups to avail tax benefits. Previously, the period of incorporation valid up to 31st March 2022. Then incentives under a concessional tax regime. Last date for commencement of manufacturing or production under Section 115 BAB extended by 1 year, that is from 31st March 2023 to 21st March 2024. Then scheme for taxation of virtual digital assets. Specific tax regime for virtual digital assets introduced. Any income from transfer of any virtual digital asset to be taxed at the rate of 30%. No deduction in respect of any expenditure or allowance to be allowed while computing such income except cost of acquisition. Loss from transfer of virtual digital asset cannot be off against any other income. To capture the transaction details, TDS to be provided on payment made in relation to transfer of virtual digital asset at the rate of 1% of such consideration above a monetary threshold. Gift of virtual digital asset also to be taxed in the hands of the recipient. Then litigation management. In cases where question of law is identical to the one pending in High Court or Supreme Court, the filing of appeal by the department shall be deferred till such question of law is decided by the court, to greatly help in reducing repeated litigation between taxpayers and the department. Then tax incentives to Ifsc. Subject to specified conditions, the following to be exempt from tax: income of a non-resident from offshore derivative instruments, income from over-the-counter derivatives issued by an offshore banking unit, income from royalty and interest on account of lease of ship, income received from portfolio management services in Ifsc. And these are exempt from tax. Then rationalization of surcharge on AOPs, which is consortium formed to execute a contract. AOPs. Surcharge on AOPs capped at 15%. It is done to reduce the disparity in surcharge between individual companies and AOPs. Surcharge on long-term capital gains arising on transfer of any type of assets capped at 15% to give a boost to the startup community. Next, health and education cess. Any surcharge or cess on income and profits not allowable as business expenditure. Then deterrence against tax evasion. No set-off of any loss to be allowed against undisclosed income detected during search and survey operations. Rationalizing TDS provisions. Benefits passed on to agents as business promotion strategy taxable in hands of agents. Tax deduction provided to a person giving benefits if the aggregate value of such benefits exceed 20,000 rupees during the financial year. Now, indirect taxes. Remarkable progress in GST. GST revenues are buoyant despite the pandemic. Taxpayers deserve applause for this growth. Special economic zones. Customs administration of SEZ to be fully IT driven and function on the Customs National Portal shall be implemented by 31st September 2022. Custom reforms and duty rates changes. Faceless customs has been fully established during COVID-19 pandemic. The customs formations have done exceptional frontline work against all odds, displaying agility and purpose. Project imports and capital goods. Gradually phasing out of the concessional rates in capital goods and project imports and applying a moderate tariff of 7.5% conducive to the growth of domestic sector and make in India. Certain exemptions for advanced machineries that are not manufactured within the country shall continue. A few exemptions introduced on inputs like specialized castings, ball screw, and linear motion guide to encourage domestic manufacturing of capital goods. Review of customs exemptions and tariff simplification. More than 350 exemption entries proposed to be gradually phased out, like exemption on certain agricultural produce, chemicals, fabrics, medical devices, and drugs and medicines for which sufficient domestic capacity exists. Simplifying the customs rate and tariff structure, particularly for sectors like chemicals, textiles, and metals, and minimize disputes. Removal of exemptions on items which are or can be manufactured in India, and providing concessional duties on raw material that go into manufacturing of intermediate products in line with the objective of Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Then sector specific proposals. Electronics. Customs duty rates to be calibrated to provide a graded rate structure to facilitate domestic manufacturing of wearable devices, hearable devices, and electronic smart meters. Duty concessions to parts of transformers of mobile phone chargers and camera lens of mobile camera module and certain other items to enable domestic manufacturing of high growth electronic items. Gems and jewelry. Custom duty on cut and polished diamonds and gemstones being reduced to 5%. Nil customs duty to simply swan diamond to give a boost to the gems and jewelry sector. A simplified regulatory framework to be implemented by June this year to facilitate export of jewelry through e-commerce. Customs duty of at least 400 rupees per kg to be paid on imitation jewelry import to disincentivize import of undervalued imitation jewelry. Then chemicals, custom du- customs duty on certain critical chemicals, namely methanol, acetic acid, and heavy feedstocks for petroleum refining being reduced. Duty is being raised on sodium cyanide, for which adequate domestic capacity exists. This will help in enhancing domestic value addition. Then MSME. Customs duty on umbrellas being raised to 20%, exemptions to parts of umbrellas being withdrawn, Exemptions being rationalized on implements and tools for agri sectors which are manufactured in India. Custom duty exemptions given to steel scrap last year extended for another year to provide relief to MSME secondary steel producers. Certain anti-dumping and CVD on stainless steel and coated steel, flat products, bars of alloy steel, and high-speed steel are being revoked to tackle prevailing high prices of metal in larger public interest. Then exports, to incentivize exports, exemptions being provided on items such as embellishment, trimming, fasteners, buttons, zipper, lining material, specified leather, furniture fittings, and packaging boxes. Duty being reduced on certain inputs required for shrimp aquaculture to promote its export. Tariff measure to encourage blending of fuel. Unblended fuel to attract an additional differential excise duty of 2 rupees per liter from 1st of October 2022 to encourage blending of fuel. So इसके साथ हमारी वीडियो खत्म हुई तो थैंक यू.